Hello, this is the first of two short videos that are designed to help students assess the quality of online information resources. It involves applying a system that was developed by Dr. Jane Mandalios that's called RADAR. You can get some information about RADAR at this reference in the Journal of Information Science, and I'll place this reference and a list of any other references that I use here in the description for this YouTube video. So we live in an age where there's an ocean of information that students can use in assignments, but they don't actually get a chance to assess the quality of the information that they put into their written work that they may be submitting for assessment, and as a result often lose marks that they don't necessarily need to be losing. So radar is a way of navigating these resources, and it helps you ascertain which ones are of better quality and have more impact in your continuous assessments and term papers. Radar is a palindrome, and the various areas within it relate to each other in different ways. So it's also usable as a step-by-step guide, or in any way that makes sense to you, to help you assess the quality of an information resource that you might be thinking of including in an assignment. This should help you pass the first part of the academic Brown M&Ms test that I mentioned in my other video on citing and referencing using the Harvard style. So it relates to efficient citing and referencing in work that you as students might submit for term papers or other academic projects. So first of all, I need to acknowledge Dr. Mandalios and to the editors of the Journal of Information Science who have supported the creation of these videos. So say you've been given an academic assignment to complete, and your professor or lecturer expects you to reference sources of an appropriate quality. Students often say that they did a Google search and the results they found were amongst the first that were returned, but this doesn't necessarily equate to being the most appropriate resource or the ones that demonstrates to your lecturer critical thinking. Radar involves looking at these resources in terms of their relevance, the authority of the institution or the individual who produced the paper or the information resource, the date on which it was produced, the appearance of the paper, and the reason why it was written in the first place. So let's look at relevance first. This means that you think about how each source you've obtained is relevant to the problem that you've been set. This means that you're trying to think about how the piece of information really helps answer the question or solve the problem that you've been given. Sometimes students try to find articles or papers that most closely match the title of their assignment, but instead they should look at the relevance of the information that they've procured from the internet or from a database to the problem that you've been asked to address. In particular, you need to be able to clarify to yourself why the sources of information you've used are more relevant than the other ones that you could have used. This is actually useful to state in an assignment if possible, as it will justify to yourself and it will justify to your lecturer, your professor, or the person who's grading the assignment that you've thought deeply about it and that you've made informed choices about the type of information that you've used. This is a key step in demonstrating critical skills and academic rigor and impressing the person who's going to grade your paper. So when we're not familiar with a particular field, we might be impressed with organizations with impressive sounding names, the International Association for whatever, who claim to be experts or authority in that field. However, as we go deeper and deeper inside our research, we often find out that these impressive sounding institutions are sometimes paid voices for vice industries, political parties, or even climate change deniers. We're all familiar with Dr. Nick Riviera and The Simpsons, who claims to be an authoritative medical doctor, but we soon know that he's a quack who recommends dangerous or flaky treatments to his patients. So how do we find out which institutions and individuals are real authorities and which ones merely proclaim themselves to be the leading global authorities in a given field for their own personal gain? Real academic researchers or universities don't do this, of course, but instead their work speaks for themselves. One's peers in your academic community across the world bestow this upon you on the basis of how much they cite your work or by reviewing, approving and publishing your work in peer-reviewed academic journals. Getting material published in real top-level academic journals is a very, very rigorous process, can take a number of years in some cases. This the fact that this process exists can help you to do some background checks on the authorities that you're actually citing. So we can look at Google Scholar for example. Here's my own Google Scholar page there, and I'm putting it up there not to claim any expertise, because it's pretty obvious that on the basis of this that there isn't much expertise that's claimable, and I certainly would not claim to be a global expert or an international authority on anything on the basis of this. So there are plenty more people who have more citations than me in Google Scholar. What you see here is I have 367 citations in total, and 232 since 2011. It's now the 2nd of February 2016. So I wouldn't claim expertise or any level of international authority on that basis. But what it does do is it gives a sense of a scholar's body of work and their achievements. Additionally, if you look at Google Scholar around here, you'll see that there is a link to a scholar's own institutional homepage. So here's my own institutional homepage. Usually it'll tell you, the title of the person, where they live and their work, and what their institutional responsibilities are. It'll tell you a little bit about their research interests, where the type of things that they're interested in looking into. But the most important thing from a business perspective, for business academics, for management students, is this: peer-reviewed academic publications in journals. Because that's where other members of your community are really engaging with you, looking at the type of work that you're doing, and having where they're verifying and approving the work that you're doing and justifying it for publication to other scholars within the community. We also put up information about books, chapters that we write, review articles that we do, other materials of scholarly work that are there, conferences that we attend, lots of stuff there. But the most important stuff for scholars, to verify the authority of a scholar, is the fact that they're publishing peer-reviewed academic publications. Not just that they're publishing them, but also where they are publishing this work also. And the next stage in looking rigorously at the authority is actually finding out, the place where this work is published is very important as well, because there are plenty of journals out there that are predatory publishers, that they are, people pay to publish their information. People pay to publish their articles in them. This doesn't mean that they're of a high quality. And just because, like an institution, if a journal has a very impressive name, like the International Journal of Advanced Paperclip Collecting or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best one. So how do you find out as a student where they are? Now, the good news is that there's a number of very respectable rankings of journals that have been produced. For example, there's the Financial Times top 45 journals that are used. It's a list of journals that are used to accredit business schools for MBAs. So that is a very important one. One that has been used in the British Research Excellence Framework and Research Excellence exercises in business and management studies, and it's the one that I think is used most in Ireland and other parts, Ireland and the UK, is the Chartered Association of Business Schools Academic Journal Guide, and that is there's the link to it there. It is the one that's most used, and just to look inside it, if you click on that link, it'll take you to this website, the Chartered Association of Business Schools, and within there it'll take you to this page where you can register or log in to view the guide. It's free to use it. You just have to register the first time that you use it, and then after that I think it's a very straightforward click through to the website to actually get back onto the page. So we'll have a look at what's of how you can use that to ascertain the quality of material that's in there by opening up that website now. So here we are inside the Academic Journal Guide. This is after I've registered and logged in using my own password. We click on View the Guide here, and it opens up this page. And it just takes a second or two to open. I'm going to maximize this a little bit because of the pages. Well, let's say, for example, as you scroll through this guide page by page, it will. It gives you a list of different areas the business school academics might write in. See regional studies, planning and environment there, sectoral studies. But say you've got a source that you want to use and you want to check whether it's a verified one. I'm going to put the name of a journal that I really like here. It's called Human Relations, and Human Relations, it goes off and it finds it, gives us our search results there. It'll show me what page it's on, and then we can zoom in a little bit and make this full screen to get a clearer picture of it. So what we could see is there in organisation studies, right at the very top, the AGG guide, the Academic Journal Guide for the ABS for 2015, the current one. Organisation science is 4-star. Human relations is 4, and there is one, two, three, 4 journals there in organisation studies that have a 4 rank, one with a 4-star. There's about 3 or 4 with a 3, 2s, all the way down to 1s, and then onto the onto the next page. So, what exactly do these mean? And the Academic Journal Guide will give you on page 8 of that guide. It will tell you what these rankings are. 4-star. We saw organisation studies had a 4-star beside it. That's a top-ranked journal of distinction. 4 is publishes the most original, best executed research. 3, original, well-executed research, highly regarded journals. 2, original research and acceptable standard, well regarded in this field. And 1 is recognized but of a more modest standard. Now, it must be pointed out that some journals are new, and therefore you kind of, once they're known really and they have to establish themselves, they kind of start off near the bottom and they have to work their ways up. But by and large, this is a really good guide for ascertaining what the quality of a journal is. So this is looking under the hood of what makes a good information source that you can use in your assignment. So that's R and A from Radar done. We're going to move on to the to date, appearance, and reasons for writing in part 2 of this. In part 2 of this series of YouTube videos.